Vijay, it's good to have you. So is the fundamental problem here that we're trying to transition the world to clean energy quicker than we can actually successfully pull that off?
Thank you for having me. It's good to be with you. Yes, there is a bottleneck problem. It's not the one that sometimes you hear. In order to get the clean energy transition moving faster to the scale that, let's say, the International Energy Agency or some of the international agreements envision, we're going to have 4, 5, or even more times the level of investment in various renewables, electric vehicles, and other technologies. And what we're running up against is a good problem, you can see, in a certain sense, that is the problems of scaling. Shortages of battery metals, for example. We're seeing difficulty siting windmills and other grid infrastructure that's needed for distributed energy bottlenecks. So it's not a shortage of capital, as the previous segment alluded to. There's plenty of ESG money, but it's a question of finding enough targets and scaling up fast enough.
Well, all of that said, there's a line here that says the overwhelming priority must be to catalyze a bigger surge in private investment. So explain that.
There's no problem of market failure here, in my opinion. Some people think, there's a problem with the markets and clean energy. This is really a question where if we had regulations that allowed sensible, faster approvals, for example, for transmission lines, for siting of clean energy projects. At the moment, it can take 10 years. Transmission lines require sometimes even county by county approvals. You get a lot of NIMBYism and various local economic interests and activism clogging it up. And so we don't have a sensible approach, the way we did with other big federal projects, the federal highway system, for example, that we were able to build. So we need to get our ducks in a row in terms of dealing with the red tape that gets in the way of some of this transmission and clean energy siting. If we were to get a regulatory framework that also gave a clear policy signal that investments in clean energy would be rewarded in the marketplace, the market will solve this problem. An example would be some kind of carbon price. The Economist has long advocated a carbon tax. Congress is probably not going to pass one, certainly not this year, but some form of clear long-term signal that carbon prices matter, and it can come in some other way than a carbon tax. That would give the market more confidence that these investments are going to pay off.
No, it's a worthy read. A reminder in many ways. There's a lot of goals that have been sort of conservative goals on the deregulatory front are now being married with this huge push on the left, primarily, but now I would say among the general public to go green or to maybe go clean. So there's a lot of strange alliances that are being made in pursuit of these goals. Vijay, thanks for joining us today. We appreciate it. It's good to speak with you.
Shepard Smith here. Thanks for watching CNBC on YouTube.